Well, it says you are live. I promised you guys we would be here around this time today, but Michael and I were planning on a certain agenda for our live broadcast here with you guys. But there's a little change of plan. Something came up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell a short story. I honestly I feel pretty bad about it. I mean, I don't feel horrible. I just feel like I could have acted a little better. And it all stems from my beliefs and my frustration. And it doesn't help when you have to get up in the morning and show up at the VA hospital. And it's just the clinic. It was a regular checkup. Some of you that were with me like back in September, I went in for 2 weeks in the hospital for pneumonia. It completely baffled the minds of the staff at the hospital because they thought for sure it was the Blovid. And they tested me about 4 or 5 times, geez. And I got really angry and told her that not to test me again. I just did not want to be touched again. That stuff hurts. And I don't know what's on the end of that stick when they sit and shove it up your brain. So I that happened in September, and then there was supposed to be a follow-up appointment to see how my breathing was doing in my lungs and all that junk. And I postponed the appointment because I know that when I have to go into the VA clinic, they have this ridiculous procedure. And when you're in the military, you have to do it, right? You don't have a choice. But I'm not in the military anymore. So when I walk through the doors and this tool at the desk says, please make sure you use the hand sanitizer before you come in any further, I'm like, really? The hand sanitizer, the stuff is still on my hands. And I always ask him, like, is it okay if I use the restroom and just wash my hands? And this guy literally told me, no, ma'am, I have to witness it. You have to witness me rubbing hand sanitizer in my hands? Like, you guys have a sincere lack of trust for your clientele, but whatever. I just run my hand under the sensor and let most of the sanitizer squirt down away, and then I rub my hands together like I'm really using it. And it's Faith and Andy. Thank you guys for joining. I'm telling a story. There was a little change of plan. Michael's not going to join me today, so I'm just telling a story, and I feel a little bad about it. So I'm venting a little bit, and in hopes that, I don't know, that maybe you guys can tell me that's okay. You have every right to be a jerk. But I was a jerk on Wednesday. I was a bad jerk on Wednesday when I went to the. So that's what this story is. And so I was at the part where I arrived at the VA hospital for my checkup, my follow up, and then the guy wants me to put hand sanitizer on. Okay. And so I got through that. Then I got to the desk, and he picks up a package of masks, and he's like, here's a mask for you if you need one. And I said, no, I don't need one, thank you. And he puts it down, and he's like, okay. And then he goes through the process. What's your last name? The last four of your social? He starts checking me in, and then he gets a real nervous look at me, and he's like, do you have a mask, ma'am? And I said, no. I was like, no, why would I have a mask? And he was just like, well, you need to wear a mask. And then I was prepared for that. And at that point, my frustration and I guess my blood pressure started to go up because I could start feeling the adrenaline. When you start getting into a tense situation, your body starts to kind of shake a little bit, like, just get me through this. And the conversation, and it's not verbatim, but the conversation was something along the lines of, I'm not wearing a mask. And he was like, well, you need to wear it. And I said, I understand you guys have a lot of other people in line. If you're not going to allow me to have this appointment today because of the mask, I'll leave. I don't mind. I said it. I tried to say it with all the love and the tone of my voice so that he doesn't think I was trying to argue with him. And I didn't want to sit there and go back and forth, wasting the time of all these other people who showed up on time for their appointment, and they need to check in. So I just told him, I said, I'm okay to forfeit my appointment if you're going to force me to wear a mask. That's when he really started sweating bullets. He deny you a medical appointment because of that. And I just smiled and I said, I know. And he kind of looked around and I said, look, I'm not going to wear the mask. Should I go? I can go. It's okay. And he's like, no, it's okay. And he finished checking me in and told me to have a seat. So I already felt like kind of being a jerk. And that's fine. I was the only one sitting in there. All these old men, old crusty veterans after me put on their mask like obedient little dogs. I was like, good boys. And then they came out, they called my name. I went in the back. And then the nurse was a little nicer. She wasn't as high strung and stressed, but when she sat me down, she took my blood pressure, what nurses do best, you know, they take your blood pressure, ask you how you're doing, and I noticed they stopped asking the questions about, do you have any guns at home? They always ask me that. For years, I've been going to the VA, they stopped asking me that. You know what she asked me? Have you been feeling suicidal? And I'm like, no, I feel fine. I'm sitting here smiling. And I told her too. I was like, you can see the smile on my face, right? Because I'm not wearing a mask. And she's okay. Do you have any depression and stuff like this? And I'm just like, all right, we'll get through the 20 questions. And I answered the questions. And then she asked me the question. She asked me if I had as Faith would say it, have you had the right? And I said no. And she goes, oh, would you like to schedule for one of those today? And I said, no, thank you. And she goes, can I ask why? And I asked her, and I tried to be nice. I said, do you have to know why? I don't see why you need to ask me that. And she goes, well, the program here is selective that I have to ask the question, and then I have to put in the answer. And I'm like, okay. I said, can you choose an answer, or do you have just like a, checkbox? And she said, I can write in the answer. Is it a religious thing? And I said, no, but I said, I can give you an answer, and if you want to put it in, that will work. And she's like, okay. And she puts her hands on the keyboard. She's ready. And she said, I told her, because it doesn't work. And when I said the last word, she just kind of side glanced me, and I could tell she was irritated with me, and I felt so bad. But because it doesn't work, I was thinking in the back of my mind, lady, I could tell you so much more as to why I'm not going to take this stuff. But besides the fact that, besides the fact that whatever I tell you on this live stream now could give me a strike, then it is what it is. But she looked a little irritated, and I said, I'm sorry. If you'd rather put it's the mark of the beast, you could put that instead. And I laughed because I thought it was funny. And she just kind of stared at the screen for a few seconds, and I saw her type something in. And I really wanted to ask her, what did she type in? What's the reason? But I thought maybe she just wrote, this person is a fanatical idiot. And then just turned around and started asking me about, how is your vision? How is the sensation in your feet? Are you still diabetic? And all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm good. My dad used to get me and my 3 siblings to bed and saying, shall we all do the achy up wooden hills into bed? And Vader is on the way. Oh, anyways, I feel bad now because Vader missed like the best part of the story. That's okay, Vader. I'm just glad you're here. But I ended up going through the rest of the appointment with flying colors. As a matter of fact, here's a blessing for the day. Praise Jesus. When you have your blood tests taken, they test what's called your A1C, and it determines whether or not you're diabetic or classified as not. And apparently my A1C has gone down below the mark, and I'm no longer classified as diabetic. I have to continue watching what I eat, but
I don't have to, they kept wanting to prescribe diabetes medicine like metformin, and I never took it. And so I told myself I'd rather just change the things that I'm eating and bring that A1C down. So I did it. Amen. And I left the clinic. I was walking out. I was the only one without a mask. They had to do labs, take my blood. I was the only one in the lab without a mask. I mean, everybody walked around with those muffles and muzzles, and it was just ridiculous that you had. What really struck me as funny is in the waiting room, you have these men talking to each other. Well, I served in Vietnam, and back in Nam, I was the guy to talk to when it came to getting supplies. If you wanted shit, you had to talk to me. And then, yeah, the guy sure talks like you can't tell him what to do. But as soon as he walks through that threshold, on goes the face diaper. Just like a good boy. Good boy. So the doctor did the same, wanted me to take drugs. That's right, Vader. In fact, I think you were one of the ones early on when I started this venture about after I got out of the hospital, I just had to lay off the junk, and it's all willpower. It's all willpower, and I don't have the strength and willpower to do it myself. That's my problem. I have to depend and rely on Jesus and his strength, the rock, because otherwise I'm done for. So there was a good thing out of that appointment, and audio has gone mono. I don't know what that means, Andy. What is mono? Do I just sound mono to you like a robot? I don't know what that means, sweetheart, but that's okay. Cause it's better now. I'm not shouting like I usually am. I end up screaming sometimes, and then I realize I'm alone in this office. I don't know what I'm shouting at. So I had felt like I was being a complete smartass and a jerk to those people at the clinic. And I keep forgetting that they are brainwashed. These people think that what they're doing is right and that following the rules is good for them, and they're complying for the greater good of humanity. And but boy, when that guy started losing his shit when I told him I wasn't going to wear a mask, he acted like I was there to buy 3 apples and he only had 2. He just started freaking. Yeah, well, ma'am, I looking around frantically, like what else can I give her? To tape? Can I give her tape and she'll stick it on her face? The guy just panicked. So that was my story. I feel bad about being such a smart ass, but the only way I know how to handle those situations is just try to bail out as fast as I could. And I told him, I said, look, either I'm not wearing the mask and we're going to do this, or I'm going to leave. That's it. And yeah, they're getting paid for it, Vader. They are. And when they realize that they have walked themselves into their cages and they hear the click of that cage lock behind them, they will realize that they have created their own prison and it'll be too late to get out. So let them. All I could say is we just pray for them, let them, and in the meantime, when I'm sitting there making jokes about Mark of the Beast, or because it doesn't work, and this poor nurse, I have to put something in the notes to explain why don't want to take the vaccination. That's my new word for it. Instead of jab, it's gonna be the vaccination. Oh, sticking it, yes. See, Vader, though, that's why you're like the other little angel on my shoulder that can get me arrested, girl. I love you. Always telling doctor's office staff they need to find a common sense and go back to school. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. These people are over there. Oh, nurses! I saw a sign when I walked in. Celebrate Nurses Week. Appreciate everything that these heroes do. And there's this animated drawing of a nurse with wearing a cape like she's Superman. And I get that nurses' jobs aren't easy. I'm not going to discredit them for it, but holy shit. You're going to sit there and tell me, like, they're amazing the way they take your blood pressure and type it on the computer. It's amazing. And I just, we all are heroes in our own way, aren't we? Oh, called on you. Oh, Vader, see, I said you could get me arrested and you got cops and hospital security called on you. Not surprised. Not surprised. So, all right. That's my story, you guys. I actually should get back to work. I promised I would be on at this time. I have fulfilled my promise. I have told a story and confessed one sin that I perhaps could have handled the situation better. But I mean, to be truthful, I was prepared for that kind of resistance because I know how the places are. And I could only postpone the appointment so many times, and the mask thing was just not going away. Our governor has lifted the mask mandate. It is no longer required. Some businesses can leave a sign that says masks optional, we encourage you, but they can't make you or refuse you if you don't wear it. But apparently the VA hospital wants you to think that it's required. They even had the sign on the door. I got there before my appointment, I saw the sign. And when I went in, I braced myself. So perhaps my blood pressure was super high when she took it too. And I told her, I was just like, it's because you guys in your mask fanaticism. And she just looked at me, and I don't know if she was grinning or she was just looking at me like I was a complete fool, but I don't care. I'm not there to impress her. So there's my story. I made it through the appointment without a mask because I was able to at least prove to them that it was not required, and you can't make me do it. You don't own me anymore, government. So I'm not angry at them. You guys, is Tom there? Oh, he's lurky turkey. Whoever the lurky turkey is, I love you, and I love you guys. VA getting paid well to play the game, and they do it well too, because they know that these men in the military, and they were these men and women, these men and women were trained in the military to, when you tell them jump, they say which way and how far. And I just had to remind a few guys there, a few of those old geezers, you know what? They don't freaking own me anymore. And I was willing to just pass my appointment up, no problem. Just make sure you put it in the notes that patient walked away because she's not a tool. I would have made that guy write that in there. Watched him sweat bullets. Anyways, all right, I've rambled on. My funeral director has called me twice since I started this live stream. I think maybe he wants me to do something today. He doesn't understand it's Friday. All right, guys. I'm really going to let you go this time. I really am. So, thanks, Andy, Faith, Vader, and my little lurky turkey, whoever it is. And thank you guys for joining. Thanks for listening to my little story. Hopefully next time, if all goes well, I'll have Michael on too, and we'll do our little sin confession. That's kind of what we were planning to do. So, love you, Faith. Love you, Vader. Love you, Andy. Bye.